And today on Autocar 66, we'll look at cars that were inspired by others through no fault of their own. See more after the intro. Let's start with the Toyota MR2, which was a long-lived two-seater, mid-engine sports car, manufactured by the Japanese automaker between 1984 and 2007, with three very distinct generations. But it was the last of them, the so-called W30 from 2000, that sought the most inspiration from European models. If the first generations were nicknamed Japanese Ferraris for humble budgets, the last one sought inspiration from another legendary brand, Porsche. The car in question was the Boxster from 1996. In addition to the concept of a two-seater, mid-engine convertible sports car, albeit in a compact and reduced version, the MR2 had style in common with the Boxster. At the front, large headlights and the traditional Porsche fenders, with short front and rear overhangs, and the sides with the same air intakes as the engine. At the rear, the Toyota had a verticalized version of the Porsche taillights, the same fenders and brake lights built into the same place, on the engine cover. While one was a low-cost sports car from the popular Toyota, the other was the entry-level model from the traditional German Porsche. The Toyota's engine was also quite modest, a 1.84-cylinder with around 140 horsepower, taking advantage of its low weight. Porsche used a 2.56-cylinder with over 200 horsepower. It's only fair to have one of the greatest legends in the world of super sports cars as a reference, but the fate of each was very different. While the MR2 ended production in 2007, the Boxster survives to this day. Which of the two suits your style more? The small, light, and powerful MR2, or the Porsche tradition of supercars? A complete unknown on our list, but with a very familiar design. Don't I know you from somewhere? The second-generation Nissan Note, launched in 2012, can easily be confused with the popular Honda Fit. Fierce rivals in world markets, but especially in Japan. The Note is a rival that repeats all the lines of its biggest rival, and can easily be confused on the streets. The small minivan shape popularized by the Fit is repeated in the Note, with a short front end with large headlights, a side window with a rising baseline and a smooth roofline, and an equally short rear end with vertical taillights and a very vertical rear end. In this case, both cars remain in line and are highly successful products sold in several places around the world, although their current generations have distanced themselves in design while maintaining the minivan concept. What did you think of the Nissan Note? Is it on par with the reliable and popular Honda Fit? Now, a controversial car that has even caused friction among the parents of children. When the American Lincoln presented its Continental concept model in 2016, many had the impression that they had seen something similar out there. Bentley's designers had the same impression. The fact is that the Lincoln concept model has many of the lines of the classic English model. A front with a sculpted hood that embraces the chrome grille, although with very different headlights, a low side profile with a high and flat baseline of the windows, and very similar door contours, including their chrome finish. The rear has very different taillights, but repeats almost all the rest of the Bentley's style. A smooth drop of the trunk lid, well-marked creases on the sides, which end at the taillights and form a chamfer that rises on the trunk lid. Such similarities led Luc Donker-Volke, Bentley's design director at the time, to offer, via Facebook, the tooling for building the car to make things easier, among other less noble words. In return, Lincoln resents its rival's use of the Continental name on one of its models, a name that is quite traditional for the American brand. Years passed, things calmed down, Bentley changed generations and designs, and the production version of Lincoln was able to use its borrowed design on its production Continental without any further complaints. A big dogfight, who is right in this discussion? Now for a curious discussion. It involves a Brazilian car, exotically named Uirapuru. But in this car, the paternity seems to lie with the Brazilians. Many accuse the English Jensen of having copied the car. Presented in '66, the Jensen model reached the assembly lines 2 years after the Uirapuru. The fact is that the English model had a concept and design very similar to the Brazilian one. It was a 4-seater coupe with a very long hood and a short rear end. Although Jensen is the one accused here, many claim that in fact the matrix for both design projects was in a car launched in 1962, the Studebaker Avanti, which could be the acquittal of the English. The fact is that the Jensen repeats many of the lines of the Brazilian car. The elongated front with large air vents on the fenders, the side with a small side window, although larger in the English one, and the rear with wraparound glass and small rectangular lights at the ends. The Jensen used a Chrysler V8 engine with about 300 horsepower, while the Uirapuru used a General Motors inline 6-cylinder with 157 horsepower. The Jensen remained in production until 1976, although small runs were made throughout the 1980s. The Uirapuru lasted only 2 years due to its high cost and consequent low sales, and only 77 units were manufactured. Did Jensen copy the Uirapuru, or was it just a happy coincidence? What do you think? So, what did you think of the cars in our video? Are the inspirations fair, or are they just copies? Tell us your opinion in the comments. We want to know.
Enjoying this video, so subscribe to the channel and like it so we can keep on producing our content.